How's it going, everybody? Josh here and
John Kernstein, a.k.a. Beast Manhattan, a.k.a. Beast Stroganoff.
the Beast and other adjectives next to that. And we are here with Dedicated Health. And today we wanted to cover 4 things we wish we knew when we first started lifting. So let's roll. So in typical YouTuber fashion, I'm going to go ahead and keep you waiting for number 1. And we're going to start with number 4. And to make it even more YouTuberish, I'm going to start by saying, please like and subscribe before you even see the video, because that's what we do. I feel like every YouTuber does that.
Well, they should, because what if your video sucks?
Yeah, I want you to commit to me first and then worry about the information later. How about that? Okay, so first off, this was actually his. I went up to him and asked him what was one thing he wished he knew before he started lifting, and it was mobility. So why is that, Sir John?
Well, I'm now an old man, and when I was younger, many old men told me how I was going to have problems with everything hurting and not being able to move properly. And I thought, no, old man, that's incorrect. The old men were right.
Yeah, every time. And this is the reason this is for isn't because it's not important, because it is. It's for because you hear it a lot. Everyone you know is going to say you need to make sure you're stretching. And guess what? They're right. It is so important. Not being able to move sucks. And guess what? You can't make gains if you can't move. It's probably one of the worst. I would say out of all the things on the list, this is the most common thing that everyone just doesn't worry about until it's too late.
Yeah, and they all know it. Everyone knows it. They just don't really believe it or care.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, as an old man, every old man that's ever told you that is correct.
So make sure you're stretching and doing some mobility work and making sure that you have good shoulders. All these things are important. Doesn't matter how much you can bench if you can't wipe your own butt.
Okay, and the next thing on our list is, drum roll, form. Your form is important. Going heavy as you can for 1 rep or 3 rep or 5 rep, show is fun, but it's not nearly as important for getting what you actually want to accomplish.
It could not. Yeah, every single person who walks into a gym sees someone with all these 45s loaded up on a bar. And no one wants to be that person that walks up and grabs just the bar to do a bench press. But let me tell you something. That person who's now doing that ridiculous amount of weight started with just the bar too. You know, John didn't just walk into a gym looking like this. He had to start somewhere. I mean, granted, he probably started with 400, 600 pounds?
732.
732, roughly that. Yeah. But it doesn't start that way. You got to make sure you build up the technique first. And actually, we are a perfect example of this. Just like last week or something, Gabe came in and showed us how to properly deadlift. We've been doing it wrong for a long time.
So now we're doing a lot less weight correctly so that the end number will end up being higher.
And it's so much harder to unlearn and relearn something.
Oh, absolutely.
Than it would have been if we would have just started there. And it's a pain in the butt. Like I feel like I'm learning how to walk again.
Yeah, and to be honest, you can build muscle without heavy weight as well.
100%.
I often, now my ego is gone. I don't actually care at all what the number is. Sometimes it's fun to do with your buddies, but when I'm working out, you'll see me with really small weight doing really high rep. It does build size, believe it or not.
100%. And that's actually a video we're going to cover in the future too. We'll go into more detail about that, but it's very important. And that actually is going to lead us right into our next point, which is probably one of the biggest ones for me, because I jumped into it way too fast. And it's starting out slowly. So everyone wants to jump in and just start lifting like crazy. And I understand that, especially if you get addicted to it and you want to build a routine. But believe it or not, you want to make as much progress as you can over as little effort as possible. Because if you do everything all at once, 1, you're going to just burn out your body. 2, you're going to reach a plateau with nowhere else to go. And 3, you're going to end up hurting yourself. All these things are not good. There's something called progressive overload, which is so important when it comes to lifting. You want to start with a weight that you can manage, get very efficient at it, and then once you're not seeing results anymore, then you start going up again. I actually was thinking about this the other day because I started training with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, because of laziness, we call it lazy lifting.
Yeah. It's the least unlazy way to be lazy.
Exactly. I didn't want to change the weights. So I was using the weights he was using. which were too heavy for me. Like they just were. I got really strong doing it, but I reached a point where like I never went anywhere else because I just started out using these ridiculously heavy weights and I was just plateaued forever trying to figure out what to do. And eventually I had to change my entire lifting style. But he kind of you kind of did it in reverse because he was lifting me, so he was using lower weights.
Mine was actual lazy lifting.
Yeah. He was using weights that were really heavy for me, but not as heavy as he could do. And it wasn't until you started lifting with Justin again that you started using weights that fit him. So yeah, you want to try to make sure you're doing the least you can, but still making the progress you want to see. Upgrade your results. Start changing things whenever you stop seeing results. If you're still seeing results, no matter how slow, keep doing it because it's working.
Okay. And the final and number one, because it's most important thing, food is king. We absolutely need to make sure your diet's correct. You can bust your ass all day long, but if you're not eating enough, you're not going to grow.
It's probably the most frustrating fact of life is you can't outwork a crappy diet. And in our case, you can't outlift under eating. We both ran into that situation where we really wanted to put on size, but the mentality of like, well, I want to have abs or something else kept holding us back. Like for me anyway, I was so scared to eat more, even though it's what I knew I needed to do because I was so scared of like, I don't know, losing that definition.
Yeah, it's those abs. That's what does it.
At the end of the day, it's those abs. I don't want to lose my abs. But if you want to put on size, you need to understand food. And you need to understand that you need to eat food, put on size. It's just the sad but true part of life. Like when you first started putting on the most amount of size, it was after we started talking about carbs after lifting.
Oh, yeah. That's the biggest change in my life was everybody's always pushing protein after your lift. Take a protein shake. When I changed it and added the carbs, it instantly like changed my life. I gained so much quicker just by adding carbs to my protein shake, actually.
It's and I think it was oatmeal. Like we just added oatmeal. It was so easy.
Yep.
And there is some supplements you can take that makes that kind of thing easier. Like we sell the Rule 1 pounds, which we showed you in the last video. Went awful. I'm not going to do that again. Which is awesome to add in. But at the end of the day, it was just we added more food in and it made a big difference. And that's another thing. Like, and I think you can agree to this too. One of the first things someone says to you whenever they realize you lift or like you're in shape is, hey, what protein or pre-workout or whatever it is you take?
Yeah, they treat it like it's some sort of miracle drug. It's not.
It's not.
It's food.
It's literally food. Like it's a more convenient food. And if you don't know how much you need to be eating anyway, then what's the point? Like, you need to figure out what it is you need. And also, this is another rant for another time, but I'm going to go ahead and say this now. If the first thing you come up to me and ask about is pre-workout, we already have problems. That's the last thing you need.
Yeah.
But you need to really sit down, and there's apps for this, like MyFitnessPal, stuff like that. Or you can do like intuitive eating. That's pretty much what John did. And what I recommend is eat. And if you're seeing results, keep doing it. And if you're not seeing results, either eat more, eat less, depending on what you're wanting to do. I personally use MyFitnessPal just because I like them technologies. I like them.
Me dumb. Me dumb. Me eat.
He's not dumb. He like food. He like food. And it works. I mean, finding what works for you is what matters. And we're always happy to like help. Like you, depending on what kind of style you want, you can come and ask either of us. We're more than happy to help you out with those kind of things. But yeah, that's the most important thing. Food. Get the food in. Get the food in. Worry about supplements later. Get food in.
Absolutely.
So there you have it. There's the 4 big things I wish I knew. And now you know them, so you don't have to go through the same struggles we did.
Now, if there's anything else you want to know, comment below. Maybe we'll know and we'll do another video for you.
Or if you have something that you recently found out and you wish you knew ahead of time, comment below. It might be helping someone out. We might cover it again in a later video.
It might be helping us out. Nobody knows everything.
Exactly. If you ever feel like you know everything, you're already lost. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now that you actually know what we have to offer, and hit the bell button to keep notified. We post a video every Sunday at noon. We really appreciate you watching this, and until next time, stay dedicated.